Welcome, everybody, to Straight Shoot, a wrestling podcast. I'm one half of your host, Santi. I'm here with Steve, and today we are going to be answering the question, what happens if Roman Reigns wins at WrestleMania 39 against Cody Rhodes? Because I think a lot of people are still very much convinced that Cody Rhodes is going to finish the story, that, he's going to do it for his daddy. But Steve and I here are very much of the mind that no, this story still has a lot more to go. And the story does not end at WrestleMania, and neither does the historic title reign of our tribal chief, Roman Reigns. Steve, I'll pass the baton over to you.
You will all acknowledge him. You will all stand and go buy God mode t-shirts and acknowledge Roman Reigns finally as being the greatest of this generation. I did not say greatest of the all time. I said greatest of this generation. No, Santi, let's be real. No. Roman winning is not the worst thing in the world. And I think that's what everyone's worried about when it comes to Roman Reigns potentially winning at WrestleMania. I think everyone's worried that this storyline has gone too long with the Bloodline, that in this day and age, having someone carry a title for 1,000 days is just not, it doesn't make sense. I think it's like, this generation's short-term memory span. Like, we just want things quick, over, tell the story, move on to the next thing, more creative. This is different. This is old school, and he's getting the old school treatment, and it's what he deserves because he's put in the work. If you look where he came from to getting booed out the building, winning the Rumble, and The Rock couldn't even help put him over. And then he goes away with leukemia after winning the Universal title, comes back, is getting the push. Then, like, all of a sudden the pandemic happened and he has to go away again. And then he comes back with Paul Heyman, and he's got this whole new attitude and swagger about him. And he has been on a rocket of a trajectory ever since. There is nothing wrong with Roman going 1,000 days and winning at WrestleMania. That's my point.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think for me, the thorn in my side, when it comes to, agreeing with people that Cody Rhodes is going to win, is the fact that it doesn't, to me, really, it doesn't make sense to end a historic, nearly 1,000-day reign as WWE Universal Champion, or whatever they're calling those unified titles these days, on a half-baked 1-month feud. Right. Like, they think about it. Like, these guys have only been feuding for a month, and they've been in the ring twice. There is a lot of meat left on the bone to tell a much larger, much more personal story between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. It is a story that could absolutely get stretched out into SummerSlam. Yes, you can lose at WrestleMania and win at SummerSlam. Literally, Roman Reigns did that when he lost at WrestleMania to Brock Lesnar and then won the Universal Championship at SummerSlam. So absolutely it can happen. So the question of, well, if Cody Rhodes isn't able to beat him, then who's left? Still Cody Rhodes. Like, you're assuming that, like, these guys can't have more than one match. Absolutely, they can have more than one match. And the story, when Roman Reigns wins, is going to drag on, and it is going to push towards SummerSlam. And if that's where Roman Reigns loses the titles, I'm okay with that, because then we'll have pushed the 1,000-day mark, and we'll have Roman Reigns in that top 5 list of longest reigning champions of all time.
Yeah, it comes to a point of what makes sense for, I guess, legacy. It's a weird one to say legacy for Roman, because even though he's been around for nearly 10 years, it feels like he's only just gotten going. Does that make sense? Like, the last 3 years.
Yes, it does make sense.
Yeah. Okay. He had the run with the Shield, but he had a lot of setbacks. Now we sit here and this man is going on almost a decade, and it only feels like he's getting started. It's the same with Cody. Cody's only getting started. And like you said, a lot of meat on the bone when it comes to this storyline. I'm even going to stretch it out. It could be a feud for another year. We could feud it till 40. I'm not mad about it if they do it right. And with the creative team that they have involved, throw Seth in the mix a little bit. Throw Gunther in. Throw Drew or Sheamus back in. Like, there's so many other guys that could throw little tidbits and curves into this mix-up of Roman's final couple of months with WWE before he goes and takes a break. All these rumors of Roman's taking a break after Mania. Yeah, Roman doesn't need to be in Puerto Rico.
No.
Tribal Chief, if he wins at Mania, he can take 1 month off. We had literally Brock Lesnar hold the world title hostage for nearly a year, and we never saw it. And this was before the mid titles made sense. The mid titles are literally what carries this business right now. So, and then Roman at the end comes out and puts on a great performance like a champion should. There's no reason he needs to lose right now.
Yeah.
He's still hot.
I agree. So let's talk about, the perspective world in when Roman Reigns wins. I think in this imaginary fantasy booking, I think you and I both have the Usos losing.
Yes.
Right. Because, we've had the rise of the Bloodline. Mm-hmm. Now we need to tell the story of the demolishing, the implosion of the Bloodline, because look, this story that's been told for an entire year, everybody losing their titles, boom, that's the end of the Bloodline. No, that's not satisfying. That isn't satisfying, because they spent an entire year building up the Bloodline. You can spend just as long showing the crumbling and the downfall of the Bloodline, and it starts at WrestleMania. People seem to think that it needs to end at WrestleMania. No, the part 2 of the Bloodline storyline can start at WrestleMania, and rather than it being the rise of the Bloodline, it's the downfall of the Bloodline, starting with the Usos losing their titles. We're already seeing it with Solo defying Roman Reigns, right? With coming back to Cody Rhodes and Solo trying to gain some autonomy away from the Bloodline and trying to prove that he is ready, unlike which is the argument that Cody is making. So now we have the ability to spend several months telling the story of the downfall of the Bloodline, the separation of the Usos from the Tribal Chief, the dissension of Solo from the Tribal Chief trying to keep it all together, and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens still being a thorn on the side, trying to continue to pry at it and pull at the threads to bring Jimmy and Jay out of the shadows of the Tribal Chief.
Yeah, no, you've hit it perfectly. We could go an entire year of the cracks in the foundation. We've seen the cracks already begin, and now we just need the bricks and the mortar to start falling of what is or even the island, the volcano to explode and the island of relevancy to fall out into the ocean and drift away into separation. Like,
God damn, that was poetic, dude. What the fuck?
You're welcome. I'm actually act like an idiot. No, so it's one of those ones where you can sit there and Solo can drift away and go into a mid-card run or have a feud with Roman. Even at Money in the Bank, even though I'm pretty sure that's going to be Drew or Gunther at Money in the Bank for the title. But at the end of the day, like, you can have so much where Roman just doesn't grasp all these guys enough anymore. They're not within the power of the Tribal Chief. And maybe we finally see the fall of the Anawahi family, not even just the Bloodline, like that whole Samoan dynasty just falls completely apart until Roman finally cracks, when maybe we get The Rock for 40. We can go so many ways with this. Like, he can still be grasping. He loses the title. Here's one. He loses the title at SummerSlam. He starts to go on a meltdown phase like Rollins did. Remember when Rollins had his like complete meltdown? Roman does something similar and saying, well, I'm still the Tribal Chief. Well, like Cody said the other day, how's the Tribal Chief going to be the Tribal Chief without a tribe? Mm-hmm. And that's where I think we really go with this. Yeah. And Roman doesn't need a title anymore to tell a good story. He's done that for 3 years. Yeah. So let's get Roman the title at Mania, and then let's have the downfall of the Bloodline. And I think that would just be I think that would hold me to Raw for 3 hours longer than Roman coming out protecting his title.
Yeah, I think what I would like to see is Roman Reigns win, whatever, in some capacity. It takes cheating, whatever it might be. Then we build a proper long feud between him and Cody Rhodes. Again, I keep saying it. This is a half-baked 4-week feud that I cannot justify Cody Rhodes winning when the champion is this powerful, this strong, and this historic. Let's build a storyline where now we can justify Cody Rhodes being that winner at SummerSlam. They win the titles. Cody Rhodes moves on to do his own thing. And then from SummerSlam till Royal Rumble or until WrestleMania, the feud is within the Bloodline. Matches between Roman and Jay, matches with Roman and Solo, Jay and Solo, Jimmy and Roman, Jimmy and Jay. Like, you can have so much infighting within the Bloodline. And who knows, maybe all that infighting causes the Chiefs to come in and out comes The Rock to fucking, I don't know, bring everything together. Obviously, that's insane fantasy booking. But what I'm saying is, after SummerSlam, when Roman loses those titles, you can now tell the story of the complete crumbling of the Bloodline, the Civil War era for those Marvel fans. All right, Bloodline Civil War, because right now we saw Bloodline Phase 1. We're going to go into Bloodline Phase 2, and then Phase 3 is going to be Bloodline Civil War.
Of course it is, and it's going to be fantastic however they book it, because just remember who's at the helm. And only 1 or 2 hiccups since he's taken over, with Triple H being running everything. So really, it's one of those ones where you just sit there and you're just like, I'll just take whatever. As long as Roman doesn't lose, like you said, a half-baked feud, because I think that could be one of the... That's just cold. I think it's just cold. You work so hard, and you remember when Austin took his ball and went home?
Yeah.
He didn't want to go over to a new Brock Lesnar who was going to be a top guy. I really think a 1-month feud with Cody is just as disrespectful. There's no build. There's no money in it. And just remember, we're in sports entertainment. We're not in professional wrestling. We're about the money as well. From a business standpoint, this doesn't make sense.
I agree. I think what makes sense is the long-term feud between these two, because these two can make money for the company for a really long time. And if Cody, look, Roman chasing the titles isn't the same as Cody chasing the titles. Like, the money is in the allure of Roman Reigns losing.
Yep, 100%.
So if you pull the trigger too fast again on a half-baked feud, you're leaving so much money on the table to continue to sell out arenas and pay-per-view buys, or memberships to the network, I should say, with a trilogy between these guys. But if Cody wins on the first match, there's no trilogy to be had. There isn't. Like, it just loses it loses its appeal to continue to have those matches. But if Cody is chasing, it justifies more matches, it justifies more money, and it justifies that long-term booking that Triple H has shown is really good at.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think my final answer is, Santi, what's the finish?
I think the finish, oh man. I think the finish has something to do with Solo, because Cody has gotten in his head that you're not ready. And I think Solo is going to do what he's been told not to do. He maybe at the start of the night, he's told, do not interfere. And he interferes and he helps Roman Reigns win. Cool. Roman Reigns wins. But there was dissension in the Bloodline in that decision. And again, we can continue to tell that story of Solo having that dissension. Roman Reigns not able to keep people in line. And then, build that into a SummerSlam match between Roman and Cody.
So I'm going to go the other way. I agree with you. It's Solo. But it's not Solo helping Roman win. It's helping Roman inadvertently get disqualified. Roman losing at Mania is still a loss to the tribal chief. Just remember, every screwy finish that we've had where one of the Usos or Solo or Paul Heyman has gotten involved has still led to Roman winning. He hasn't technically lost.
Well, he lost to Seth Rollins.
Yeah, he lost to Seth Rollins, but he didn't
that wasn't involvement from the Bloodline. That was literally just him getting himself disqualified.
Exactly. None of the guys have cost him anything, like any credibility.
Yeah, but a DQ finish at Mania though?
It's been done. It's not awesome, but I think as long as if it's a DQ finish, Cody leaves and Roman attacks Solo or punishes Solo. I don't know. I don't like a DQ finish at Mania on night 2. It all depends how night 1 goes, I guess. But at the end of the day, we are in for a one hell of a WrestleMania. This is going to be one hell of a WrestleMania main event. I think these guys put on a banger. I just think the cost of Roman losing is more damaging to the titles than him winning.
Right. All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of Straight Shooter Wrestling Podcast. Steve, where can people find you?
Twitch.tv/Mr. Tesh, TikTok at Mr. Tesh. And guys, don't forget all of our Straight Shoot content all on every single platform. WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2 will be on the last hour will be at straightshoot.locals.com. So make sure you go over there and give us a follow. You just have to subscribe. We don't expect you to, do any deposits or donations, but that is where we will be in Miami for straightshoot.locals.com for the final hour of each episode or each night of WrestleMania. Sorry guys, I'm getting tired too. But yeah, make sure you guys go over to Locals and give us a follow. Santi, what about you?
Twitch.tv/SantiZap, as well as over on Twitter, Twitter at Mr. SantiZap, and of course TikTok at Mr. SantiZap. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Straight Shooter Wrestling Podcast. If you're on YouTube, please make sure to leave it a like, a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and if you are listening to this on podcast services, please make sure to leave us a review, a positive one ideally. That'd be nice. Thank you very much for listening to this episode. Take care and be good people.